All right, I'm back. So yeah, let's continue. So I was saying I looked at this impulsive move on C1000 4-hour time frame. Price has retraced and rejected the 61.8 fib retracement. They've also tapped into this order block here, also tapped into 70.5% fib retracement. Within that move, they've created a peak. And right now, it looks like they're also breaking this order block here. So if we can get a retracement and a continuation all the way down here, these are all possible TPs based on a higher time frame. So the only thing I think we need right now would be an entry, which brings us to the levels I mentioned. So we're looking at 58.30 to 58.35, which is right here. We are also looking at possibilities of price coming back as high as that level there. So if you want, you can run another fib from this impulsive move here to this low. If we zoom in on M15, you will notice that the retracement level starts just above this level here, 38.2. So we just measured this impulsive move. Retracement 38.2, 50.0 lines up with our 58.30 sell limits, and 61.8 lines up with 58.35. So we just see if we can get a reaction here, then definitely this price will drop. So that's my setup there on C1000. Then going to C500, more or less the same thing. We also missed a very good entry here. Missed a very good entry. We can see we already had an impulsive move, a retracement. This is the second impulsive move. So if we could have caught this trade in here, that would have been a good setup. But anyways, right now, the only thing we can do is wait for a retracement. If price decides to continue dropping, that'll be a miss. But if they do retrace anyway into this area here, we're going to look for possible entries for sells. So if we drop to M15, you see there's the impulsive move here. So our points of interest now, based on M15, the first one is this low here, which was broken. So you can see that's where this zone is. That will be around 85, 45.90. 45.90, that's the first point of interest. If we get a reaction here, then we can sell. At the same time, we do have an order block here. We do have an order block here. And price can also come to this order block, which is on top here. Right? Price can literally do anything. But for now, this is our main point of interest. So if we can get a reaction anyway on this area, then we can look for sells. So that's my view on C5, C1. We're also stalking it. C300. We're a bit far from the 13 EMA, meaning price might actually retrace and push up a bit. So if you notice, I still have these levels, which we marked, I think, from the last week. So those are all points of interest where price can actually retrace to before we actually get a continuation sell. So for now, we do not have anything on C300. B500, I've noticed that from yesterday, we've been respecting this zone here. So there's a possibility price might actually push up. So a safe buy would be above this last doji you see on H1. Just mark the high. If we break above that high, then we can get a quick buy on B500. So this is how it's looking like on M15. We're waiting for a break above 57.70. If price breaks and closes above this price level, then we can buy. Price will most likely get to yesterday's high. That will be the target. So we've got 40 pip, it's actually a 40 pip target. So out of that 40 pip move, if we can catch 30 clean pips here, that will be perfect. So it's a 30 to 40 pip move. If we can catch 30, that'll be perfect. If price decides to come down, that might be another setup forming. Then I'll just let you guys know in the group on what I'll be seeing. But for now, I'm leaning on this particular buy. So just waiting for price to break above this level. Then we can most likely get a buy trade. We will be looking for a pattern like this one here. So what we were waiting for, we already got this break actually here. Then price came back to these lows. So it's more or less the same pattern, but we need price to actually break a level. They need to break this level to show us that they want to come up. Then we can start buying, especially if we can get a slight retracement as well. Then we can buy. So that's it for B5. B1000, I think. Let's open one buy position. I'll explain just now. Okay, we're going to open one buy position on B1000. Okay, so my explanation on this particular setup is when I was looking at the charts just now before I started this session, I noticed price already created a lower low for the day and they broke an order block here. There's actually a couple of order blocks which have been broken. And when I came, I think price was here. So I marked this order block here as an area where price can come and bounce before we get a continuation. So I feel like price can actually still extend and most likely get to this area here. This is also M15. We're trading above the yellow baseline as well. That sort of adds a little bit of bias to our setup. So I'm looking at a pattern which might play out like this. That's what I'm looking at. They might still come back again to the same level before they actually decide to move. That's also a possible play. If you notice yesterday, they kept like playing around this area here. Then eventually they moved. Literally almost half the day on the same zone. But if you notice, they were respecting the previous day's low. They didn't break it. As soon as they came back above, they started respecting it. So if you were buying anyway in here, your setup was going to be valid until price broke on the bottom side. So they actually ended up playing out. So that was a good trade. I'm not sure if you guys caught it. So today we just hope right now they will actually move and not play around this area. So let's see what happens. If you notice, this is the order block which was broken by this impulsive move. So that order block was not retested here. It has only been retested today with a fresh pattern being formed. So we've got a lower low, an order block, a break, and a retest. That's my reasoning for buying this index. So I don't know if you guys have got any other views here on B1000. The only thing I will say maybe from H1 is our first position. It's an early entry because we are still trading below the 13 EMA. But if we can get a close above right now and a slight retracement, this price would definitely get into this zone. If you notice TDI, we also have a divergence setup here. We've got price creating lower lows, and we've got TDI creating almost equal lows or a slightly higher low, and this leg bouncing off the 32 level here. So this sort of shows that there is potential for this setup to actually push up. All we need is just a little bit more confirmation. So that's the reason we only have one position. That one position we have gets our emotions involved. And I feel like if you get emotions involved, you can analyze price a little bit better. So if we can come above this level again, I think we can add one position right there. Once we come above this level here, we add one. Price might retrace to bounce off this, then create this pattern. Once you start getting your higher highs and higher lows, you know you are in a intraday uptrend. So you can add to your positions, especially if your bias is actually bullish. The pattern will just be following in your higher time frame bias, and on the smaller time frame, you're just looking for those slight pullbacks. If you notice on this pattern also, we've got a divergent pattern. Price creating lower lows, TDI creating higher lows. So this is showing a retracement. This is a variation of a baseline bounce confirmation for buys. So I have every reason to believe this will actually give us some pips. I think I'll actually add one more position there. So I've got two positions running on B1000. Okay, so that's it for B1000. What will also happen is we might get another baseline bounce here. Once you get that, I usually call that the double baseline bounce. Each time you get like a double baseline bounce as a confirmation here, it usually means you will get a good impulsive push up. So what is our target for this particular trade? If this trade can pay us about 50 pips, I'll be happy with that. 50 pips will be somewhere here. If this trade can pay us 50 pips, that will be perfect. If they show momentum and continue to pay about 100, that will be a bonus. But we can scale out at 50 pips if they actually play out. So if you zoom in also here, you'll notice that we've got a broken order block here. So price can retest here, retest anyway in this area, then you'll see that push up. And once we break this level, we look to scale in. So that's my view on B1000. So I will be back at it just now. Then going to J10. J10, if you notice, we've been trading within a consolidation range for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Today is day number 8 of us actually consolidating here. So two things can happen. Price can actually start to push down, or they can actually give a proper retracement back up. For this particular push here, you see they actually started continuing down. So that can also happen here. But we just need to follow price action and see what they actually want to do. So looking at the daily, they look like they want to push back to the 13 EMA. Maybe respect it, then continue pushing down. That's a possible play right there. So short term, maybe look for buys. Then long term, look for a possible continuation to the downside, because this looks like there's also some acceleration. But at the same time, you'll see that we are within a zone from a higher time frame. So we just want to pay attention what really happens within this whole range. But if we come back up here, we might potentially pull back up here. If we do come back down here, then we're definitely pushing to the downside. So today we are open for short-term buys. So for now, I'm going to just move this consolidation color so that we can see. So for now, we said we are open to getting buys. So where can we buy from? H1 is already trading above the 13 EMA, which lines up with our buying bias. So as long as we've got a bias, it becomes easier to drop down to a smaller time frame and start look for points of interest to actually execute your entry. So safe buys would be if we break above the current highs of today, which is this level, and retest. That will be a safe buy, and we'll be looking to target this high at the top here. If price does retrace from here now, where can we enter from? So starting from this low, this is actually the visible peak, which we can all see. But if you notice, there's an order block there where price actually broke, retested once. This push up also left an order block here or a demand zone where price is actually respected. So for now, I would say that is my point of interest of where price can retrace to. There's a little bit of a fair value gap here or an imbalance. So we are open to the fact that price can still decide to run down here, then start to push up to give us that buy which we actually want in line with our buying bias. So if they do come down, we don't have a sell setup. What we are waiting for is a buy pattern to form. So if price gives us this setup, we're going to buy it around this area. But if they do break right now from where they currently are, we're going to wait for a retest. Maybe we can even run a Fibonacci here, then start buying whenever they hit 38.2, going to the equilibrium level. That's where we can actually buy from. So that's my view there on J10. Then going to V2501S. Okay, so I'm going to just look at the daily, see where our bias is going. Okay, if you notice, I had run a fib here from this high. From this high here to this low here. So I was just looking at this move. Like, can this price potentially be respecting this area and actually pushing down? So it's a bias I have saying that price can actually push down. But for me to actually sell, I want to see the daily break yesterday's lows, maybe retest that level. Then I can confidently start selling. But for now, we're still open to see price actually push higher, maybe into the 50 level or 61.8, which will line up with the 50 EMA. That's just like a possible play which can happen. But at the same time, this could be a 13 EMA rejection, and we might see price coming down. So how the daily closes today will sort of give us a clue on how to trade this asset tomorrow. So today we might not have the best setup here, but we might actually trade it tomorrow. So let's see what we have on the smaller time frames. Okay, so you see we actually have points of interest on this whole impulsive move. We have these zones which are marked, which were not retested except this one. So this price can go either way. You can see we're also between these two major moving averages, so we can get a lot of trap moves as well. So let's rather not trade this today and only trade it tomorrow. Then going to step index, we had a crazy push up after a few break and retest of structures here. I remember I had marked this zone and I was waiting for price to retest, but if you notice, they did not even come back to retest this zone as well. They did not even come back unless you were looking at this break and retest there, then you might have caught this impulsive move. But this is another example of price acceleration as well. So what I just want us to take note is I want you to look at the TDI, right? These baseline bounces were happening when almost the whole TDI was above the 50 level. So that shows a strong buying bias. So in the future, if you're using TDI and you see such a setup, if you are not sure, just highlight it to the group, then we can take a look at it. But if we do get baseline bounces happening when the whole TDI is above the 50, that usually shows a strong buying bias. So whatever entries we take, we should actually try to hold Because if you notice, after this break, during these days, we actually had small moves until here. That's when price just decided to go crazy in one day. So if you had to look at this from a daily perspective, you see there is one huge daily candle right there. You see that candle there. So this is a broken daily zone now. So that's now the relationships between these time frames. So if you see, we had a break from the daily. We were anticipating a minor pullback since liquidity was also taken here and here as well. But sometimes price will just accelerate. For example, like this, as you see, you won't get that pullback to actually get an entry. Price will just shoot up. So our clue is, if on H1 we see our price giving baseline bounces when the whole TDI is actually above the 50, just know we have a strong uptrend. Vice versa, if it's a sell. If it's a sell, you see TDI giving baseline bounces when the yellow baseline and most of the TDI is below the 50 level. For example, something like this, not the perfect example, but something like that. Baseline bounce is below this 50 level. And we had a huge impulsive sell, which just continued. On this particular sell, though, there were pullbacks. You can see there is a bit of visible pullbacks on the H1 there, so we might have entered. But however, if you see it happen and you catch a sell here, you should actually aim to hold for the move until you start to see some form of reversals. So I hope you guys take notes of that. That is for those trading using BTMM or using the TDI. So that's it from me today. Let's just go back to B1, see what they want to do. Okay, so for now, I would say our stop loss has to be below the zone. If price can come and respect the same area, that will be fine. Still, the setup is still valid. We still scaling above this level here. But if they do break, then it will be something else. Then we'll just have to manage the loss. But I would say I'm still very keen on seeing buys happening here based on this TDI confirmation which we have. We can get a spike anytime from now. So the only thing we can do is wait, stoke our assets. If we do spike and come and close above, that's where we're actually going to scale in. So I'd say for now, that's our trade. I'll keep advising on the Telegram group, especially if I see a setup on C1000 and C500. These two most likely give good setups during the course of the day. So that's it from me today, guys. If you still have questions, just send through on the Telegram group. If you've got different views as well, you can share your views, then we can discuss. Apart from that, wishing you guys a productive day and a productive week ahead. Good trading.